Is this thing on?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. First of all, I'd like to say that this is a very exciting and very emotional time for both myself and for Naama, since we have personal... Then it should be on. Okay, I'll sit down. Hello?
You take it off.
Okay, good. Okay, so it still is an emotional thing because both Naama and I have very, very strong connections with the University of Chicago, where this whole thing began many years ago. I myself went to University of Chicago in the late 1960s. Naama's family is very strongly connected with the University of Chicago even earlier than that. It's hard to believe that there was something before the 1960s, but actually it did happen. So we're very happy to be here. However, I must say that on reviewing examples of prior runnings of this debate on YouTube, I was dismayed to find that the subject was often treated with less than the serious scholarship that I would have expected, and in a somewhat frivolous manner. Former debates have not adequately examined the political and existential aspects of the tension between Latkes and Hamantash. Now, this lack of seriousness may have to do with the host institutions, which are, somewhat shabby places, or with the diaspora origins of the debate itself. As for instance, I was told on arriving in Israel, and when I encountered looks of disdain regarding my University of Chicago transcripts, they said to me, "Well, this is the Hebrew University." So this problem. It is therefore fitting that the Hamantash and Latkes debate has finally reached Israel, and it's certainly correct that HUC Jerusalem is the proper location for such a crucial machloket. I believe that the issue before us is not only, or even principally, culinary. It is a matter of the very essence and fate of the Jewish people. But first we must define our terms. Latkes comes from the Ukrainian oyadka, meaning pancake, fritter, or flapjack. It is the diminutive of the Old Russian oyada, which is derived from the Greek eladia, which is the plural of the singular eladion, meaning a little oily thing. A little oil, or a young olive tree. I don't know where that goes, but that's the truth. But in fact, the Latke has a Hebrew heritage and is already referred to in the Tanakh as levivot in 2 Samuel chapter 13, both as a verb, telaviv, and as a noun, levivot. The composition of the levivah is discussed by no other than Rashi in his commentary on 2 Samuel 13:8, where he says that the levivah is composed of semolina cakes, steamed and then boiled in oil. The transformation into the potato-based delicacy is late, possibly Eastern European, and a unnamed local informant, Shelley, has told me of the semolina-based levivot of the Sephardi tradition, and I'd like to thank him for that piece of information. The levivah is also mentioned both in the apocryphal book of Judith and in Megillat Yehudit, a little-known Hebrew version of the story of the heroism of women that is connected with Hanukkah. In both cases, the levivah is singled out as being prepared by the heroine Judith as a means of subduing the Greek oppressor Holofernes, or as he's called in Hebrew, Alifoni. And I quote, "Vatomer Yehudit l'shivchata bashli lishte levivot ve'evrei miyadech ותעש לה לביבות ותמלכם עד מאוד ובחריצי חלב שפכה אל הסיר ותיקחם יהודית ותביאם החדרה אל אשר אליפוני שמה ויעש אליפוני קרה גדולה את משתה יהודית ויאכל את הלביבות ואת חריצי החלב וישת ויתהב ליבו וישכב ויתגל בתוך אוהלו וישכב וירדם. I am forced to make short. In English, so she said to her maid, "Cook me 2 latkes, and I will eat by your hand." She made her the latkes and salted them abundantly, and together with pieces of cheese poured them into the pot. Judith then took the latkes and brought them into the room in which Holofernes was lying. Holofernes had prepared a sumptuous feast for Judith. He ate the latkes with the cheese and drank until he was good and drunk, and lying exposed in his tent, he fell fast asleep. And you can imagine the rest. Or not. Thus we see that the Levivah is connected from most ancient times with Hanukkah and with acts of heroism. The term Levivah has been connected by a number of scholars with the word Lev. While this connection is both plausible and evocative and is strengthened by the derivation of the term in BDB, we must remind ourselves that the heart in biblical thought is the seat of wisdom and not the seat of love, as in later Roman influenced thought. Thus, the Levivah must be understood most authentically as a metaphor for intellectual pursuits. It would be superfluous to detail the connections between oil, the component of oil in the Levivah, and Hanukkah before such a scholarly audience as yourselves, so I go on. Thus the Latka, the Levivah, has an entire network of associations with our ancient history, and in particular with Hanukkah, and with military prowess, and with the land of Israel. The Latka Hamantash debate is in fact most basically a matter of the essential nature of the Jewish people. It is our firm contention that the Latka is a clear and fervent statement regarding the place of the land of Israel in the hearts of the Jewish people, as opposed to the Hamantash, a foreign term, only secondarily translated to Hebrew as the rather absurd Oznei Haman. The Levivah is Hebrew and Israeli through and through. It is furthermore associated with Hanukkah, and thus with 2 additional aspects of our authentic heritage: the military victory over the oppressors of the Jews in the land of Israel, a victory that led directly, some revisionist scholars notwithstanding, to the reestablishment of Jewish political and military sovereignty in the land of The Levivah is also, as seen above, associated with the religious aspects of Hanukkah, the miracle of the cruse of oil. See Megillat Ta'anit and Professor Levine's seminal study on that. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Joel, for getting us off to a great start. We're now going to cross the Atlantic and hand it over to Dave to speak about Oznei Haman.